But what's going on out there? I'm curious. What are the big red flags in women? What are women doing wrong?
That's a great question.
It's a great question.
I don't really.
You know that my
have
whole
any
deal
answers.
is women should never ask women for dating advice about men, and men should never ask men about dating advice with women. So
Totally.
I like to ask men.
That's a great rule, by the way, because I think girls.
I'm
each other-
smart.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that we're gonna look back on the dating app era as one that was like a disaster for humankind. I think it's crazy.
Hold on. For who?
For
You.
the people who are going on like 7 dates a week.
Yeah, like right now.
That kind of shit is wild.
But I
to
think
me.
we were going to look back at the just women talking to a guy at a bar and then getting in his vehicle.
You're right. You're right.
That's every documentary we watched on
to
Netflix.
that too.
It was wild.
I think that's like dangerous.
You would meet like a stranger.
Yeah, and like fuck them.
Yeah,
like
it's
right
so
away.
When people are like dating apps are set, you just look at a picture and like it's like, well, it used to be worse. You walk into a bar and be like, ugly,
Pick that
ugly,
one.
hot. Hey,
Yeah.
can
Drink.
I? And then like
let's
I'd get
fucked
in
up
your
and fuck-
car.
Yeah, no,
that was psycho.
That I think was more dangerous.
That was crazy.
I
Like
think-
that's before you even had 12 drinks.
But don't you think,
right.
But don't you think guys love that they don't have to spend money on a date before they are, you know what I'm saying?
No, because I think
do.
that's something that happens a lot. I think right now there are, not by a lot, I don't know the exact number, but I saw
no shit.
a TikTok number of like girls doing the 28 dates in 28 days challenge.
What's that?
And it's like for Valentine's Day and just going on a date every single
Every
night.
single day. They don't. There are girls
Which
who
is
don't
what-
pay for dinner. They're like, I just go on
It's,
dates. and I
it's
don't
called
pay
the
for dinner.
unemployment challenge.
Yeah.
It really is though. It's like girls who don't have money or don't want to spend money, and they're like, I want to go to fancy restaurants and I don't want to pay for dinner, so rather I'll just go on a date. This guy to pay for me, and then like blow him off or whatever.
That's interesting. Where are you on? I think we have an opposite. I think that we should always split the bill until you're together for like exclusive, and then he can start. Like, I just think it's crazy.
I still always pay.
I still always pay.
Yeah.
I
don't really care
appreciate
about that.
I appreciate
An
a
offer.
wallet reach.
Yeah,
A fake
once
like
in a while.
yeah.
The pump
That
fake.
doesn't bother.
Yeah.
I think most guys are like, we'll pay. I don't think that's. a
But
big
do you
deal.
ever? I don't know. I think that I just never want to feel, I don't know, guilty or I want to
don't
be able.
look down
I want to be
on
able to
the
order
girl.
whatever I want.
Yeah, I don't.
Like I
have never
order
looked at a
shit
girl.
to go, dude. I've gotta pay. I'm like, I need like a T-bone for my dogs. Like,
I've never
I think-
been like at a date and been like, oh, she's ordering the lobster, or like, I can't believe I have to pay for this. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just.
by the way,
it's
guys
accepted
are really
by-
into paying now that all women have eating disorders and only order like salads. They're like, I got it.
$8, I got it.
One smoothie, I got it.
I remember I was watching Veep the other day, and Jonah Ryan says to like he's going on a bunch of dates, and he says that everything at the start of the date, you get an appetizer or dessert, not both. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm sure there are some guys like
I
that. but
guarantee
that's-
there are guys like that.
I just
for
feel like in New
sure.
York, like I don't know, I just feel like the most fun date restaurants like kind of aren't in New York. I feel like it's a Maggiano's, it's a Cheesecake Factory, it's like a, I don't know, all
Those
these.
are the fun spots.
Well, I'm just saying, all these restaurants in New York, you're just like in between two other
Yeah.
people on bad
It's all
dates.
status shit, and it's all
Well,
like.
it's just kind of like
bougie.
I can't hear you, and there's.
Oh, that's the worst one.
Two
And
di-
also, like,
Yo,
there are
that's-
people right there. It's like,
And
I
then
can't
by the
hear
way-
you, but they
I
can
know.
hear me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then, by the way, dude, like you sit down at this tiny table, and the menu is like this big, and you're just like this. It's just like embarrassing.
Yeah.
What's this? This
Have
for me?
have I Can I tell you a date idea that I did one time, and it worked gangbusters? But I wonder if you like it or hate
You
it.
gangbanged her?
It was.
Yeah.
I was talking to a girl, and I was like, let's go on a date, and she said,
Talking means texting, though, right?
no.
No, he was
I
literally
literally
talking.
went to a party to meet her so my friend could introduce us.
Okay.
And
This was a little
So
a few
you
years ago,
sta-
right?
that's-
This is- yeah,
that
like-
doesn't
That's-
happen anymore.
That's called stalking, but sure.
It was like the first thing we did in New York. And I was like, let's go on a date sometime. And she was like, what do you want to do? And I said, what would be your nightmare date? And she said, ugh, a museum. And I said, let's go to a museum then.
Okay, that is such a red flag.
Why? Oh, red flag that she wants to go to a museum, or that I
She
asked
doesn't.
That it would be a
Her nightmare.
Yeah,
What's
that's
your
true.
nightmare date?
Right.
A
You're
library. Ugh.
You are the most uncultured swine in the world.
Why,
but
are
hey,
you-
let's.
why do guys want to date retards? I don't understand.
She did work in the fashion industry. I will say that.
But I think it was.
By the way, why does fashion have museums? You know, and it's like Gucci, like people are like, there's a Tom Ford exhibit at MoMA. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What? How
Who cares?
elitist is this city?
Yeah.
No one wants to go see a bunch of clothes they can't afford.
Yeah,
But
I
the Tom
agree.
Ford,
The fashion world is so fucking
the Tom Ford Museum. I think that's called Neiman Marcus.
It's called a store.
Yeah,
It's a department store.
exactly.
No, but his idea was like, give me what you hate the most, and I'm gonna make it fun. Because
What museum? You should have gone to like
We
Air
went
and
to
Space.
no, that's in DC.
gone to the museum.
You should have gone to
Natural
do
history.
Black History, dude. Black History. Holocaust Museum. Final offer.
I've done Museum of Sex, but I've
What's the Museum of Sex like? Is it cool?
No,
It's like
boring
a
as shit.
store. It's like it's not a museum.
And
It's just like-
we went through. I went to it with
sex toy
Asa
store.
Akira, and no one there noticed her.
Nice.
And I was like, this is like walking through.
Also, my show, The Accused, on Fox, March 7th.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Show,
That's
that
very
show
sick.
is,
You went with Asa Akira. That's who you went on the date with?
And no,
No, she
she worked
used
for
to
us,
be
and
our co-host.
we went together.
Okay.
And no one noticed her there, and I was like, if no one's noticing Asa Akira, then they're all posers. They don't.
Yeah,
really
you're
care
not.
about
You're not
sex.
really a museum of sex.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I don't think people know her face as well. If she was naked, they'd probably recognize her.
If Wade Boggs was walking through the MLB
Who's
museum,
Wade Boggs?
Yeah, you're not gonna get
the
that
baseball,
reference.
they'd recognize him.
It's like
Balls Skaggs?
It's like if
Art
you walked,
Monk?
you
Wait.
walked through a comedy club with
Boss Skaggs?
fucking Whitney
Love
Cummings and they didn't know who you were.
I mean, it happens. I look different every couple
No, it
months. so-
fucking doesn't. Get out of here.
I'm very experimental with the lasers in LA, let's be honest. Some of them are not perfected yet. And then, so what happened with this erudite lady?
It went very well, and then we never really talked again.
But you did. She went to the museum and like
She
had
went
a
to the
good time,
museum
right?
and like we had fun.
I think there's
and
something
then-
to being like I can make your worst nightmare, like your worst place.
I'll say this,
fun.
she-
Like that shows how
One
good
of the
a
She
most-
museum.
said something on the date that I was like, no. I don't know if I even said this to you, where she was like, I keep a blog of my ex-boyfriends and
Jesus.
just nightmare stories. And
Hold
I
on,
was like, I, was like,
no,
I do that on a podcast, but I'm not interested in doing it with you.
Hold on, but it's also like I keep a blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
This person's
That's a red
illiterate. This person is a blog of
She-
my
she was
ex-boyfriend's,
like,
not
my
a
last-
not a diary.
Nope, a blog. She's like, my last relationship fell apart because my boyfriend hated that I kept writing about him. And I was like, I do exactly
why mine
that.
fell apart, yeah.
But I can see it being pretty frustrating.
But why? So was she just so beautiful that it didn't matter?
No, once I heard that, I was pretty much out. So we
Right.
finished the date, did some kissing.
I do think guys now, or girls too, everyone, our bar is a little more high for the cerebral part because, like, after being in a pandemic for 2 years, it's like, are you worth? Could I be
time, like-
stuck in a studio
Yeah.
apartment with you for
Yeah,
2
you're right.
years?
The judgment level is a bit higher.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're hot, but
Right.
can you play Scrabble and like, do your Kegels?
That